Rob, we were sat here, only last week, excited about the new season. You got off to a flying start, but it comes thick and fast now with 2 games against the top 3.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we always knew it was going to be interesting in this period. I think I'll probably look at it more as a 3-game block. I think that's how you have to approach it. That's very much how all the chat's been around the Premiership clubs, is that we have to address these next 3 games. That there's basically weekend, midweek, weekend as a group of 3. How you use your players across those 3. We've had a few directives now, which still need to be kind of completely clarified, and I think that makes it more as talking about a group of 3 than a group of 2 games. Although obviously what makes it interesting is that it's Bristol and Sale who are 2 other top 4 contenders currently at the moment. Although I think most people would say after the weekend that you look at Wasps, you look at Quins, and you start to see there's a much bigger group there. Bath really challenging for the top 4.
Yeah, and obviously you can only do so much pre-season training, getting the boys ready. It's not until you get to games. And first quarter in particular, Leicester really came at you, but the character the guys showed after must have pleased you. Yeah,
I think it's kind of a typical of a first game after a pre-season, and I know it's not quite the same, but the reality is we have had a long time away from the sport. And I think we played Leicester here first game up 2 seasons ago, not last season, the season before. And although we ended up with a 5-point win in that game, probably a larger scoring margin, although Leicester scored more points as well. But it went very similarly. I think we didn't get to more than a score away from them until pretty much the start of the last quarter. It was a humdinger where we were knocking lumps out of each other for a large period. And I think that's sometimes what people forget. That tends to be how a Premiership game goes. One team doesn't just crumble and fall apart straight away. The Premiership's way too strong for it to be like that. And that's the reality. It was 2 teams getting stuck into each other in their own way. Leicester scored the early points. We stuck at what we do, got an important score before half time, and then really banged in a really crucial score with the set piece score from Stuart Hogg, literally on the stroke of half time, which just made us feel good about what we could maybe achieve in the second half, and we went on and got the bonus point, which is all I could have asked the lads to do.
You said you wouldn't have known too much about Leicester because they had a new setup and everything. Doubt you gained too much from Sale's performance last Friday. They said there was a lot wrong with their performance. What are you expecting this week?
Well, obviously a better Sale. I mean, the first thing I said to the lads after the game was you've got to expect every team to get better this weekend. We'll be better, or we should be better. Every other team should be better, and we've got to make sure that our level of improvement overtakes other people. That's why it's difficult to judge how Sale will play. They may make a couple of changes. Without doubt, they'll be highly motivated. They'll be disappointed with their performance. Probably more disappointed with the performance than the result. You can't control results, but you can control performances. They'll probably feel they've let themselves down a little bit. Although I thought Quins did really well. And so who knows what we're going to face. It could be slightly changed up, but it will certainly be highly motivated. But then, why shouldn't we be motivated? If we can only win a game against a lowly motivated team, then we shouldn't be bothering to be involved. So we've got to talk a lot about what we want to bring to the game, how motivated we want to be, and what we're prepared to throw into the game.
Rob, a lot of dialogue about player welfare and the amount of games coming up. As you just said a minute ago, players aren't going to be able to play 3 games in as many weeks. It's literally, it's going to come thick and fast. You've got to rotate.
I think they can feature in them, but I think starting them is a big ask. And like I say, I think the directives we're going to get will say that shouldn't happen, and I'm thoroughly comfortable with that. Obviously there's always going to be exceptional circumstances around injuries and unavailabilities, etc. But on the whole, I think that's pretty reasonable. Some guy might have been on your bench for 2 weeks now, either say Friday or Saturday of last weekend, been on a bench here Friday now, and I've only played 25-30 minutes. Well, he's in a different scenario to someone who's played 2 lots of 80. I think that's why we've got to just have a little bit of flexibility, a little bit of trust that the directors of rugby will do the right thing and do the right thing by the players. And as I said, I could easily see benches rotating in from the weekend with a fresh group of players, and then changing back again the following week. I think that would be a relatively sensible way of approaching it. It's not for me to say. I think we've got to leave it to the directors of rugby to do this. We're the people who know the players. At the end of the day, there are assets. They're the club's assets. We should want to look after them. And I always say this, I say every year, the clubs who look after the players will be the clubs that players want to go to. And so you've just got to make sure you do it the right way.
And you said only a few weeks ago, it's a squad effort that's going to be needed over these 10 weeks, and we'll see that now, won't we?
Well, I think the good thing about what's going to happen is you will have some real inclusion. the squad will feel as a whole and feel as a collective and feel they're really contributing together. Now, obviously, they contribute week in, week out anyway in the way you train. But you're always going to have some players who feel they're contributing less than others, and this does allow opportunities. It allows some opportunities for some new players and from some young players. But it'll also, we've also got to stop. And I think, as I said, I think there seems to be so much interest in squad rotation and player well that we're actually losing the bigger picture. They haven't played anything yet. We've played one game, and some guys have only had 40 minutes. Some guys have had nothing yet. There's good Premiership players that haven't played a minute yet. They might play their first minute of rugby this weekend. Well, it's not a big ask for them to play some more minutes quite quickly. And so this is where we've got to just calm down a little bit and let some games happen, and then maybe get 3-4 games in, and we'll start to see about how we should be rotating and resting and moving things on.
One disappointment last week, Ollie Devoto limping off. What's the latest on him?
A little bit early to tell. I mean, we're hoping it's not too serious. I think how he responds in the next kind of couple of weeks will determine whether it's like a 3 or 4 week injury or if it goes any longer than that.